Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Poetry Street.
Hey.
This is the room without a roof where every voice is heard, and we're so happy that you're here at the Free Public Library in downtown Riverhead, New York. And we're also happy that you're all there on Zoom at home in the comforts of your own home, all snuggled together and having your little beverage and everything. A little bit jealous, but that's okay. All right, I digress. In Native American tradition, a land welcoming is offered to recognize the original caretakers of this land in which we stand. New York City and Long Island has always been the gathering and trading places for many of the indigenous people. Poetry Street and our work in Riverhead and other areas of Long Island is situated on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Lenape, who are the original caretakers, also the Canarsie, the Shinnecock, the Montaukett, the Reckonwalk, the Maasai, and the Haudenosaunee. We acknowledge that we are guests here and respect the many indigenous people who live on this land and continue to make ongoing contributions. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to some and just to welcome to the podium none other than my co-host, the Emmy Award-winning Maggie Bloomfield.
Thank you, Chip. Hello, everybody. It's another month and it's spring. Oh, let's applaud spring. And you guys at home, I hope you're sitting outside. Welcome, everybody. Those of you who do not know the history of Poetry Street, it started almost 11 years ago at the Blue Duck Bakery in Riverhead, thanks to Nancy Curris. It was developed by Susan Dingle and Bubby Brown, who's with us today. Whoa. Susan sends regrets. She has her own reading out in the Pacific Northwest, where she now lives. It was part of Riverhead's East End Arts Jumpstart project. And we were at the Blue Duck for 6 years. The Blue Duck sadly closed, and we wandered around a bit and Zoomed a bit during the pandemic. And then we were invited here to the Riverhead Library, and I want to thank the Riverhead Library and Joanne and everybody who helps us every month to offer you an afternoon of poetry. Just before I introduce the features, I want to tell you about the community poem. When you came in, there's a jar. Take a piece of paper that's in front of the jar and write one sentence, just one sentence, something sort of poetic, if you can. And I will put together a community poem and bring it next month for you to hear. We do this every month. This month is very short. This is from February. Maybe those of you who were here may recognize your line. When cardinals appear, angels are near. While geese glide on the water, a sparkling sunny day, just an enzyme, a little enzyme almost destroys the world. Just a man, one man, can destroy a country. Money must not win. I only added one line to that. We have wonderful features this afternoon, and then we have an open mic with the Zoom folks and with the folks here in the library. And I would like to first introduce Sarah Bullock. Her bio reads, she is a child of God, born on Long Island. She's the mother of 2 daughters and has 9 grandchildren. Her career has been working with the developmentally disabled and those with mental health issues, believing they are important and can contribute to society. Sarah writes poetry sparingly when she feels there is an issue that needs to be addressed, and she's going to address us with her poetry this afternoon. Help me welcome Sarah Bullock.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so grateful to God to be able to be here today. I spoke with Chip a few times this week, and he knows part of the story. But I said if I could possibly make it, I will. So here I am. So I guess that's God's will. Thank you, Chip and Maggie, Forestry Street, for inviting me today. Thank you to the library. And thank you all for being here to support me and the Poetry Street. My poetry is intended not to offend, belittle, or embarrass anyone. They are my thoughts and truth about some of the world's issues that really sadden my heart. And I pray that something that I say today will inspire someone to want to be a part of a movement that working together, you and me and the world can bring about positive change in the world. My first poem was written in 1986, and it was a poem that I wrote to my father for Father's Day. And unbeknownst to me, when he passed, they put it in the obituary. I didn't realize until just recently that was my first published work, first and last. It made me smile. I didn't write another poem until 12 years later. I don't say I'm a poet. I just write sparingly when I sit down and thought and I put it on paper. And this is a question I've always asked even since I was a little girl. I just wonder, why am I here? Why was I born? So here is what reason. What reason was I born to be is a question that's always puzzled me. When situations seem unfair and no one backs down from a dare. What reason was I born to be when certain men are still not free? With ups and downs and sometimes glee, this question continues to puzzle me. You're born, we live, and then we die. What happened to that apple pie, the house, the car, the picket fence? Does this question make any sense? Can you answer it for me? What reason were you born to be? So 22 years later, I wrote the answer to it. I found the answer. I prayed, Lord, what reason was I born to be? You know that question that's always haunted me? The Lord answered, you see, you're to spread joy, peace, love, and harmony, and be a servant to all you meet. Perhaps you've pondered the same lament, and I pray the answer you will get. The reason I was born to be? I found the answer when I learned to pray. Next poem I wrote in 2022, and it's named, Do You Have Any Change? You say we need positive change in the world. Well, in order for there to be change, you, me, we have to be a part of it. Let's stop the hate and not liking one another because of the color of our skin and walk towards making this world a better place to live, a place where God intended it to be, a place where we can live together as one in peace, harmony, and love, love that covers all faults. We need to face the truth as a nation and call the hate and negative vibes for what it is. Let's be the change that you, me, and we want to see in the world. And working together, we can loose change. I took that for you, Quincy. I wrote this poem in 1922. When looking at 2022. That was a pretty good year. Anyway, in 2022, again, thinking of the things that's going on in the world, and they said, there's been a lot of changes, but I don't know, it doesn't seem like much. So what I wrote was thinking about is sometimes when someone got killed or whatever, you think about the riots and all that stuff was going on. And so I wrote this, stop complaining. You complained about us throwing that garbage can through the store owner's window and destroying other people's property, saying, well, that's not right. What do you think of all that? I say, we just witnessed one of our young men being beaten, shot, and murdered right in front of our eyes. The crime, being born Black, shot in the back. Is this the stance that is still taken today? Kill first and ask questions later? Well, wouldn't you have rather I transferred my anger on that store owner's window and garbage can instead of me retaliating by taking another person's life? The window and trash can be replaced by your homeowner's insurance. They'll take care of that. But there is no price that you can place on any man's life. Don't you know that things could have gone so much worse? So stop complaining. I wrote this poem 2022 on Independence Day, in fact, and thinking about the whole independence stance of all men. So I wrote this. If then why? If all men are created equal, as the Declaration of Independence declares, then why are there no white men, women, or children standing outside of that shack of a house, looking pitiful with ragged clothes and worn shoes or no shoes at all, with no means to obtain decent housing and other necessities of life? They say, you don't qualify for this program. You don't meet the guidelines. Your skin is not the right color. These words are not mouthed. Sorry, sir, try again next year. Some people always striving to fit in, but always being oppressed. If then, why is this? Is it the color of my skin? I didn't have a choice in the matter. It's the color God made me. Black! Yes, I said it. I'm Black and I'm proud. So if then you don't like that, you can just come up here and kiss my cheek.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it again for Sarah Bullock. My goodness. What a beginning. Our next feature is one of the fathers of Poetry Street. Bill Batcher considers himself a poet under construction. He has enjoyed being a part of Poetry Street ever since its first reading at the Blue Duck. A retired teacher, his poetry has been published in magazines, anthologies, and online collections, and has won several awards. His books of poetry, Footsteps to the Resurrection, 2005, Celebration, 2014, Imaginings 2016, and Challenges 2022 are available on Amazon. Help me welcome our own Bill Batcher.
Okay. Backyard Theophany. Lord, help me listen to the sounds of spring, tweetering birds at the feeder, chirping, chasing squirrels, buzzing wasps, fluttering new budding leaves. And may I recognize these as your voice. Attune me to the smells of spring. Lily, amaryllis, wild onion, skunk cabbage, gardens redug, farm fields dressed, sea breezes. And may I recognize these as your fragrance. And when my face feels sun warm, my bare arms cool, when I feel potting soil between my fingers or a hose nozzle leaking on my wrist, remind me I've been touched by God. April. It doesn't break a sweat or make you wear too many woolen overcoats and hats, perhaps galoshes for a day, but that's the end of it. It doesn't seem to care it is not first or last. With 30 days, it is an average month. And none of these are for parading flags. April agrees to bring us Easter morn, but does not raise a fuss if March usurps that holy day. Its nights are not too short and not too long, though even equinox does not belong on its grid. There isn't much to say, yet in its quiet way, with softened voice, I find the days of April middling nice. Books. A new book has a captivating smell of mystery, of intrigue, and of wonder, luring to its secrets, hidden well the reader, unaware the spell you're under. An old book has a friendly handshake feel. So good to see once more the one I miss. Let's share again our stories. Come, let's seal our friendship with a cup of reminisce. A lost book is like a half-forgotten song, a snatch of which you often find you're singing. You likely have the melody all wrong. You can't recall the ending or beginning. Once read, a book forever haunts your brain. A lot is lost, but parts of it remain. I like tapioca. I even like the word tapioca. It sounds like the name of a Latin dance, the beat of the samba underscoring the ritual movements of some Amazonian tribe. Come, let's do the tapioca. Or it could be the local indigenous name of a tributary of the Congo. The newsman Stanley hoped will bring him closer to Dr. Livingston. This is the tapioca, I presume. Or even a tropical insect whose bite transmits a lethal disease while its genes contain the secret to conquering the riddle of aging. Tapioca face cream, $26.59 a jar. Yet tapioca is more than these. A confection that puts a spring in my step, takes my spirit to worlds unknown, and renews my youth. When I loved those gelatinous pearls, even when told they were frog eyes. The bigger, the better. Where is it from? That's the mystery. Unlike the rice pudding they tried to pawn off on me instead. Morning remonstrance. Yesterday's dishes I won't put away, though they're perfectly dry in the rack. For I know they'll demolish the mood of the day if I should start putting them back. No matter how gently I place them in piles, the plates will not quietly go. They are being imprisoned without a fair trial, and they want the whole household to know. The cups and the saucers demanding their rights, in protest will shout loud and clear, though Melmac and Styrofoam keep out of sight, we're China, we're proud, and we're here. The glasses, for their part, are sneaky today. These girlish sopranos conspire. If I take 2 or 3 to the cabinet, then they will become a boisterous bell choir. I take hold of a knife or a fork or a spoon, and regardless how much I implore, it insists on clanging objection as soon as I lower it into the drawer. The casserole covers, when put on the shelves, continue complaining. I'm sure that the pots and the pans consider themselves percussion for some overture. If I can preserve for this little while some peace, then I'm going to try. So instead of getting the dishes all riled, I elect to let sleeping bowls lie. New Colossus, with apologies to Emma Lazarus. I thank all those who opened up the gate when my ancestors sailed across the seas, escaping war, religious bigotries. My fathers took the risk to immigrate to where they could live free. But now I hear the cry to shut the door, turn off the torch, and pull the welcome mat from off the porch. I'm sure that when my family appeared on an embracing nation's brilliant shore, among those who had arrived before were many who through ignorance and fear felt some discomfort seeing my folks here. But still, the new Colossus welcomed all. The nation didn't vote to build a wall. What is a poet? A poet is a sculptor, taking a large block of language, then gradually chipping away, bit by bit, word by excess word, thought by superfluous thought, until all that remains in the middle of the floor, strewn with detritus to be swept up, is the poem. A poet is a painter, placing a blank canvas on the easel, adding splashes of color or tones of gray, vibrant verbs, nuanced nouns, applying adjectives, adverbs with an R3 hog bristle brush, leaving areas of white, then selecting the proper frame for the poem. A poet is a composer, hearing in the silence a snatch of music, already metered, but needing to be scored, adding note by note, lyric by lyric, inserting refrains, searching for harmony in the poem. A poet is a choreographer, directing the words to dance across the page, to leap and slide and tap and pirouette with grace and breakdance with agility, showing each phrase, each syllable, its place in the ensemble, its position and purpose in the poem. Seawall. The sea threw up a stony wall on shore of beach ball boulders, scoured seagull white by centuries of sea and surf, packed tight by constant jostling, a well-tamped olive jar. Today we stop to sit atop the mound. A watchful gull selects a nearby rock and listens for the crinkle of a sack of chips. Ignoring him, we look around. Men build walls to keep outsiders out, insiders in, to mark where kitchen ends and bath begins. And every son defends his small domain with warnings to all about. What motive does the sea have up her sleeve? We toss the gull a pretzel, then we leave. Artesian well. Throughout the day, cars park beside the road. The endless flowing water from the pipe fills empty jars and bottles, each in turn. Between the jars, spills extra on the rocks. When each one takes his stolen gallon home, the fountain measures not a gallon less. One driver stops to fill his thirsty hands and takes the cold, refreshing stream again, the only vessel that he brought to bring the water home himself. Throughout the night, when cars are all garaged, the water bubbles wastefully away. Moraine. Walking the beach, Long Island's North Shore, I step between boulders the size of file cabinets, around cobbles and stones, and over mounds of pebbles, the colors of garnet, ruby, emerald. And not one of them is native. All are invasive species, pushed here 18 millennia ago from their New England birthplaces. And I wonder, What graceful event of destiny deposited me here? Coloring the butter. On the kitchen table, Mom sets down the bags. Starting to put the groceries away, she asks, "Who wants to color the butter today?" "Me, let me." I quickly grab the pound of oleomargarine, all one word. Unpack it, put it in the bowl, fish out and break the packet with the tiny yellow flakes, and mix them back and forth and back. At first, there is a yellow swirl on white, but I take childish pride in getting the right, perfect, uniform color through and through. A single bit of white just wouldn't do. Mom leaves it in the bowl, for that's the charm, just like the butter we had back on the farm. Um, yes, you know. A few years ago, I lost my wife after 60 wonderful years of marriage. So these two poems were written since then. Old men look for love as much as young, to kiss again and cuddle and caress, to have a reason to go out, to shave and dress, to hold a hand while favorite songs are sung. We are too old for that. Now act our age, we're told. Our time has passed. We had our chance. The music stopped. We danced our final dance. The band has all packed up and left the stage. Sufficient now the love of children, grandkids, and the recall of what once had been. To disrespect the love now gone is sin. No, to resurrect that love, to once more feel what we had felt, though different now and strange, is also good and, oh God, just as real. How much love would fill those 80 years? How much laughter? How many heartaches, tears? How many I love yous would cross the tongue? How could we know when we were oh so young? I miss the twinkle of those eyes, the glances, miss the whispers, miss the taking chances, miss the tender touches of that hand. So I still wear, and always will, that band. As one, we started young, as one grew old, with so many magic memories to hold. I am the most heaven-blessed of men. So how can such love find me yet again?
That was beautiful, Bill. Let's hear it for Bill Batcher. Okay, we have had two wonderful features and now we have the third. By the way, everybody, all the features will come back at the end, time permitting, to do one more poem at the end of this event, which is very crowded today. That's wonderful. Yes. Okay, our next feature is definitely one of the mothers of Poetry Street. Nina Yavel is a clinical psychologist and award-winning poet and short story writer. She's been published in anthologies and international publications. Her short story Pinochle Game and poem Eve were included in Risk, Courage, and Women, prize-winning anthology that featured Maya Angelou and other women writers. Nina's new book, Blue Mums, was published in 2025 by Words with Wings Press. And I love this woman. She's been part of me for a long time. Nina Yavel.
Well, thank you, Chip, and thank you, Maggie, and thank you, all these people, these wonderful poets and people that I know, like my friend from high school, Judy. Say hello, Judy. And and my goddaughter, Rowan from California, and Rosalind and everybody. It's just wonderful to see everyone. So this is the book. This is my book. And Judy Turek is the reason it's here. She's my editor. I wrote this book as a legacy to my grandnephews, hoping that they would read it someday. Right now, I don't think they will, but maybe. So I'm just going to read a few. It's sort of split into 3 or 4 sections, each section from a different part of my life, early life, love life, loss, all that kind of stuff. So I'll start with what I always start with. Former self. I will travel as a hexagon across the universal plane, feel solar wind fall through stars, expand from 6 to 1, then 6 again. Then I will know what bees have known since their first primordial dancing, the elegant compulsion of the snow, translucent lines of crystal joining. And if somehow a foreign god or sun dissolves my perfect traveling chair, I'll gallop through it all again, first as a circle, then a square. We used to go camping when I was a kid, and we lived in a huge tent, all 7 of us. And I was like a little wild kid, and I had long braids, and I thought I was an Indian. And I used to go frog hunting. So this is called Ode to a Frog. By Tyroti's ancient shore, I stand, a warrior. With soiled clothes and muddied canvas shoes, I hold my tiny chin in my hand and peer at bubbles breaking at the surface of the lake. I watch with steady, careful eyes the shore, rocks, the blue-souled summer skies, smoke from campfires curling past. A sound emerges from the swamp, then a swishing of the bush. It's close at hand. I listen once again to the shuffling of terrain and set my stance. The ground just barely trembles in his wake. This little fellow hops onto the scene, emerging from the long swamp grass. His back is silver in the sun. His face is pointed east. His eyes are bulging in his head. I see my chance. The time is now. In stealth and silence, I move below his gaze. His eyes and mine avoid the gaze, but his are straight ahead. He leaps once more and gives himself away. I cup my hands as swiftly as a snake and grab my prey. He's mine. This slimy skin beneath my own, I hear the muffled croak. He's mine. This piece of precious life, this belly soft as stone. Well, this came from an article I read in the paper. It's called "The Rainbow Has Missing Teeth." Colors we were never meant to see. spaces where night seeps through. Some stars hold fast to chosen elements of view, others lose their grasp. Fragile bands of yellow may be lost, a tone of violet verging on the blue. A brilliant nova may withhold a dark vermilion in its lace, a shade that only cosmic valentines embrace. So if you believe an arc of multicolored light, a sign that gold is waiting just beyond your sight, I must advise that even light, cradle of the gods, source of all our reveries, bringing time, leaping on its feet, even time cannot be trusted to be true or complete. Blue mums. Blue mums in a Dutch vase offer their petals. Bring me to their centers, graced in mystery of their fragile chemistry. I am present in their inner cells, progressing square by square across a grid of stars, plexus of nerve. From epsilon, theta, omega, the mathematics are precise. Give meaning to this loveless maze. Flowers at Falmouth. At the edge of June, the lilacs blacken. Iris burst like popcorn, wilting within hours. Blossoms by the sea take their turn, weave within the salt wind. Quilted reds burrow, yellows skip. Oranges dance and white-cloaked bells like choral groups sing to the matted earth. In June, roses will split from their brace to rest upon the thorns. New sacrifices unfold, petals adrift on the slate sea. Neighborhoods. The sea is alive under moon, fish lights spawning, slate blue neighborhoods born in angles of light. Sea shanties rise, sway in the billows, carvings of seals lift up from the whitecaps, blow out sea foam, arch into the thick. I long to walk these gray plains, wander aimlessly, encounter unknown species who speak with sea lips, lost sailors, barbarians, wolves, fishwives who lost their way when their railings failed. But I scamper, soft-shelled, burrow in known harbors, move quiet, warm through long reeds, listen to the wavering of a deeper sea. This one is one of my favorites. I think Maggie loves this poem. It's called Bookcase. I wrote this in the early 80s after the women's revolution, so to speak. Called Bookcase Believing. Believing it would bring success, she raised the I Ching to the top shelf and slipped the managerial woman underneath so they faced each other squarely. She rearranged the titles so that women in love pressed against our bodies, ourselves, and Zelda and the eternal man were back to back. We are not alone. On the second shelf now stood above Lady Chatterley's lover, and Andre Gide sloped against the gypsies. Yeats's vision firmly played in the FM band, and Castaneda attained the same height as delusions and dreams. Two copies of Women in Madness were mirror images at the ends. And finally, with the full understanding of where each piece must fit, she slipped the Bible into the last niche between love and will in the unexpected universe. So one of the sections of the book talks about mental illness. I worked in that field for many years. And this is actually the rejoicing afterwards. It's called Eve. This carving of Eve emerged like David, he from an abandoned marble slab and she from a twisted root that lay broken on the ground. With clear intent, I peeled the bark and found her shapely waist, the bulbs of knees, a single breast, an arm spiraled, its hand a serpent's mouth. The other large and like a wing lay welded to her back, and she was burdened by this weight. So I wetted down the knife and shaped her gently so as not to break her crucial parts. I took her shoulders in my hands and scraped the dust until the devil's horned head peered up at me. The tie was strong. I took Eve's long eccentric limbs and fashioned swans, cut elephants and apes into her graceful frame, and on her slender neck I placed a silver ring, one that I had never worn. I had bought it years ago, not knowing that it held Diana's handsome features with turtle doves entwined. Eve's stately form, unbalanced, could not stand. The tempter's weight was far too heavy on her wings, so I wound a wire above her ribs where he and she were joined and set her free. Now she sails above my bed at her own deliberate speed, a knowing smile on her face, the devil hoisted on her back. I guess there's an area of loss in all of our lives, and this poem is written for my dear brother. It's sort of where we used to go. It's called The White Horse. In September, when hurricanes blew the sea white, my brother and I walked along the beach in Brighton. When barnacled rocks of the breakwater emerged black and polished from foam, and gulls had settled in the gliding calm, we crawled upon our hands and knees and shaped the water-thickened sand into bodies of giants. Centuries before us in the hills above Uffington, others heard the call and carved into the chalk cliffs a sign for those to come. Haven't you seen the white horse on the mountain, grazing eternally on the thin grass, and felt with your own hands the slender bodies of the gods? Thank you.
Thank you, Nina. That was gorgeous. Let's hear it for Nina and let's hear it for all the features today. Okay, it's time for the you know what, the open mic. I'm going to invite Chip back to the podium and Claire and Chip will take turns. Okay.
All right, well, once again, let's give it up for our wonderful features. And by the way, Nina Yavel is on our film, Poetry Street on the Road, the film, and it's on our website, poetrystreetontheroad.com. So first up on the open mic is Daniel Rogers, and he's coming up right now. Let's give it up for Daniel Rogers.
How y'all doing? The name of this poem is called The Last Seconds. The last seconds of freedom. The last seconds of incarceration. The last seconds of injustice. The last seconds of sanity. The last seconds of insanity. The last seconds of peace. The last seconds of war. And the last seconds of eternity.
Okay, we're going to keep it going for Warren McKnight.
I've been a street busker for over 40 years, but you know, the most wonderful thing is you get to know everybody. And even tonight, I feel for everybody. You know, people say, I lost my wife in 2017, but I'm the luckiest man in the world because I had her all those years and she loved me, you know what I mean? And I carry a picture around here with me. But if I start feeling sorry for myself, all I have to do is get in my car and drive streets of Riverhead, get out and walk. And I'm thankful that I have a home. I'm thankful for my health. I'm thankful for every one of you friends here. So this poem or prose is called The Streets of Riverhead. Sometimes each day I drive down and park and I see an old man go over to a wastebasket and take out a newspaper. Very ragged, he reads it. He has old shoes, he walks around, he waits for the bagel shop to open. He goes in and they give him a free coffee. He sits there all the time, reading and reading, or just holding the paper. So I'm glad I'm not him, but I care for him and I say hi to him. So how can I be lonely? How can I be sad when this happens around me? You know what I mean? And one of the things I never forget, I seen an old woman walking the streets of Riverhead, looking in the waste garbage things around here. She found an old rotten orange and put it in her mouth and threw it on the ground and walked. I tried to talk to her, but she just kept on walking. She didn't have time. And I guess a home was 2 shopping bags as she walked on by. So how can I feel bad for myself? I'm the luckiest guy in the world. And I go to my shopping center around here, get some Chinese food or go shopping. Carlo's Pizzeria over there at Route 58. And I see all these homeless men and one woman laying on the sidewalks, staring out into space like zombies, thinking that nobody cares. And maybe they're right. So how can I feel lonely? How can I feel sad when I have a place to sleep in and a warm body with blankets? Another time I have a catheter. My catheter got clogged. I live around the corner from the emergency room. It was a cold winter's night. I drove my car there to get my catheter changed. I was in pain, but I was the luckiest man in the world. I went into the emergency room. People were there to be treated, but there were so many people just to get out of the cold. Some of the homeless people I've seen, they gave in the hospital, saints, the people I call, gave them blankets and some clothes. So how can I feel bad for myself? I have a place to sleep in and a place to call my own and people that love me. Let's see what else here. Oh my God. Thank you. Oh, and right here, when you go out on the street on Tuesdays and Thursdays, right across the street in this big parking lot across from the railroad station, you'll see a long line of people waiting for the big food truck, people with walkers, mothers with strollers, all waiting for some food. So how can I feel bad for myself? How can I feel lonely? I have my friends and I have more than enough to eat, you know? And lastly, I saw today a little girl with crooked legs with one of these walkers going like this. And she was in a park playing and the other kids ridiculed her, but she smiled. And, you know, I think the reason why she smiled, She was out in the air. She was in a park, and she was the happiest person in the world, you know. And I got Lyme disease, and nobody knew about it, not even the doctors and I ended up in the Arcadia nursing home, you know. So sometimes I go there and I see my former friends who are there, seems forever. I was lucky to get out. Some of the ones that are there permanently in wheelchairs, getting sun, and they have to move. They had strokes or something. I don't know, a palsy. And they know me and I know them. And the people that I could testify to this, the people that take care of them are saints. So how can I feel lonely? How can I feel sad when I'm blessed with a wife for 49 years and 11 months? I'm blessed with friends here today, and I feel blessed again. Thank you.
Thank you, Warren. That was great. My bad. I forgot to go over the rules for the open mic. Please, for those of you who are new and do not know, please limit yourself to one poem, please. No more than 3 minutes up here because we got a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie, and thank you so much, Warren. We do have to remember our fellow men and women. And I think this month is National Women's Month, and there are a lot of wonderful women. So let's give them all a Okay, Claire, speaking of wonderful women, we have the queen of Poetry Street, Zoomland, Claire Lungsberg. Claire, who do we have?
Hi, Chip. Today we have at least 10 people signed up. I'm going to start us with Rosalind Brenner, followed by Herb Wallenstein, and then we'll send it back to you. And if you would put Zoom on speaker view, that will help everybody in the room at the library.
Okay, I think I did it. Yes, you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, from my latest book, it's called Life in the Body. That it has my art and poetry in it. And thank you for having this beautiful event and this great poetry, and for letting me read. So I didn't know what to choose. I chose an Ars Poetica, a kind of a romance to poetry itself. So it's a poem about poetry, and I call it a poem. A poem is an aureole, golden streak past the window, free as it flies from its nest by the bay, is music that stitches shards of mind's musings, mends holes, softens scars, urging pain away. Is the loam of earth, the ether of sky, persistent waves, the marrow of bone, the grit of sand, vastness of mountains, the blood of fire, a compass home. A poem can curve inward, its light blazing outward, in a chord of communion, stringing words on the air, a pitcher of manna poured into time, a cup full and constant that won't overflow. A poem is the taste of ripe figs on dawn's palate, Aphrodisia's vessel in a potter's clay hands, sun's banner that shimmers open each morning, moves hours toward noon, spins twilight to nightfall. Poems raise the moon, bring comfort in gloom, and embrace in the quiet of days folding away. Thank you.
Okay, here's a spring poem and also a poem for Women's History Month. And it's for my late mother and my late wife. And the words are from an Irish blessing. The blessing of light was always with you, light outside and light within. Sunlight shone upon you and warmed your heart till it glowed like a great peat fire, so that even strangers might come and warm themselves by it. A blessed light shone out of your two eyes, like a candle set in two windows of a house, bidding the wanderer to come in out of the storm. You always gave a kindly greeting to those whom you passed as you went along the roads. The blessing of rain, the sweet, soft rain, fell upon you, so that little flowers sprang up to shed their sweetness in the air. The blessings of the earth, the good, rich earth, were with you. Now the earth will be soft when you rest upon it, tired at the end of the day. The earth will rest easy over you as, at the last, you lie under it. The earth will rest so lightly over you that your spirit will be out from under it quickly and up and off and on its way to God. Thank you.
Thank you, Herb. We could hear from one more Randy Fowler before we go back to the room.
Sure. Well, you know you're a poet when you're in the bathroom, you get this inspiration, you rush to your desk and you start writing furiously. And about 20 minutes later, you realize you still have a mouth full of Listerine. So this poem is a result of that. This is called The Tale of Two Forces. Faith and fear, the forces fighting within me, savagely opposed, mortal enemies. Faith sets free the soul, trusting the divine. Fear compels devotion, once become your shrine. Faith gives birth to joy, knowing God's your rock. Fear begets control, the lie that love is blocked. Control combusts desires, needs met are never enough. Like fire incinerates wood, fear consumes self-love. I fuel the fire of fear, concerned with how I'm viewed, respect at home and work, in artistic circles too. I've made myself a prison, each bar a circumstance. The spirit waits outside, faith is her romance. Exhausted by this fight, I crave the flame of faith, so fan a spark of surrender, which sets God's grace ablaze. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Randy, and thank you, Herb. Okay, so we're going to come back to here to the Free Riverhead Public Library and ask Kathy Donnelly to please come and read. And Kathy's going to tell us about her open mic at All Saints.
Second Saturdays, there's a venue. If you're interested, I'll give you the connection. I want to thank Sarah, Bill, and Nina for their read today. Quite wonderful. And Maggie, Chip, and Claire for bringing us this fantastic venue. Yeah. So this is a poem called Accident. And when you think about accidents, they're things that you can't undo. You can't take them back, and they happen like that. So here's a minor one, but of course we see accidents happen all the time, changing people's lives. Yeah. Accident. Oh, look at that. A chipmunk scurrying across the road as I passed on my bicycle speeding, turned on a dime in the opposite direction, the precise moment our paths crossed. met with my spinning wheel, its fragile, soft form run over in the fraction of a second. A fatal error in calculation, now left inert to return to earth, only we were on asphalt. I carried this small death with me through the day into the next. I carry it still. It happened so fast, a blink of an eye, cough, a sneeze, I might have not noticed. A life ended tragically, senselessly, for no particular reason. It just did. How would its kin know it could not return? Perhaps they knew somehow, and I don't need to carry that too. I'd like to believe it lived in the moment, had no dreams or plans for its future, had no one depended on it to carry through on anything, sustenance, protection, or the like. I wanted to rewind the tape, begin my trip a second later, or take another way home. I could have driven slower, had the time to swerve, avoid what needn't have happened.
Thank you, Kathy. Wayne Barr. All right, let's give it up for Wayne Barr. And then afterwards, Claire, I want the next three from Zoom.
So I never was able to title this poem, but I think that it will speak for itself. All this new beginning, all this popping forth of life, I never could trust it, and I don't know why. So I breathe into the aha moment. Things come to us when we least expect them or when we're looking the other way. Nobody ever had to work hard to get April to happen. She comes right along with her sauntering back and forth beguiling ways, whether we believe in her or not. So this 4th month mandate for mating, despite all those false starts and foolish disputes, has me smiling. Smiling for all that I have become and all that I have left behind. April, only you could take me into this, nodding, never to be neglected, notoriously nonsensical moment of dizzy, dopey, fuzzy floppy, absolutely faultless delight.
Okay,
Claire.
from Zoom land, we will have Lee Gill, followed by Virginia Walker and Chris Javier. And I'm gonna ask Gladys to sign out and come back in.
Hey everybody, thanks for such a wonderful event. Thank you to all the features. Thank you to Maggie, Chip, and Claire. And this one is called A Vision of Peace. Now I alight upon a restful grove, atop of bed of verdant plush, engrossed by floral fragrance. Azure softness blankets the firmament, that softness cradles a golden sun, a brilliant sun, radiating unconditional serenity and caring kisses on shining rays. Cooling breezes flow in from on high, caressing my whole form, gently, gently. My most persistent nightmares, those many needles of terror, are lifted far and away on that elegant breeze. Everything sings here. They sing a joyous song. Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. And we'll now go to Virginia.
I think I'm I'm heard. I want to thank Lee, thank you, and the wonderful features. I really enjoyed everything. This poem, I'm not sure how this is going to go over. It's a new poem, Crazy for Tonto. At 8, I was crazy for Tonto. I thought he was beautiful. I wanted to ride a horse beside him. He was unperturbed in desperate times. Then Sabu revivals caught my eye. His mischief, his soft laugh, and clear argument enchanted me. Would he cover me in jewels and provide dancing parrots? But movies late brought Gregory Peck and Death by Desire, a mythic duel in the sun. I wanted to roll in the dust with him. I was caught up in a mad tango of flesh. In my late teens, Woody Strode interrupted with startling bravado my Peck holiday. But Peck remained my favorite, and I overcast innocent men with my icons. At 9, I decided I needed a male companion in life. I demanded beauty, whimsy, rebellious danger, bravery. I pace my dreams, a tiger looking for life.
Thank you, Virginia. And now we'll go to Chris Javier.
Okay. This poem is titled Move the Clouds. The stratus stood still over my local library for hours since this morning, and I sat at a table near the vending machine that's currently nearly empty, with only the bottom section filled with Gatorades and Poland Springs, which was established in 1845. I fitted in 2 lines of my poem in between 2 lines of my loose leaf from my mini notebook to leave room for a few more poems about the realities that I visualize in 5 seconds or more before it vanishes in my brain. My neural networks are like dial-up. It'll take me hours to recover the data and formulate words that I'm unsure of before I write them down to display a description of a green hill with no daffodils and a sun in a clear blue sky, or an Empire State Building that disappeared in the haze of firecrackers, or a purple 92 New Yorker and a white 88 DeVille drag racing at the Las Vegas Strip. Endless angles, endless spirals, to the point I write my lines on these lines where it looks like they're literally being crossed out. This particular page is telling me to end. I'm not sure when will the stratus move. Poem.
Thank you so much, Chris. We'll now go back to the room with Chip.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you, Chris. Oh, by the way, Chris just wrote another book. He wrote Drift 1 and then Drift 1.5. So, Chris, we're so proud of you, and we're looking forward to your 3rd book. Okay, so next we have Susan Semerade. Here she comes, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up for this beautiful, very nice lady.
The poem I have, I did not write. I had another one planned to read today, one that I did write. But I read this one the other day, and it's very short, and I think it's really appropriate for what's going on in the world. And this is called First They Came by Martin Niemöller. He was a German Lutheran pastor. The title is First They Came for the Jews. First they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me. And I just wanted to give a little background on this. It says the poem highlights the idea that when people remain silent, when others are being persecuted, they become complicit in the oppression, and eventually the same fate will befall him. The poem uses the example of the Nazi regime in Germany, where persecution began with certain groups like the communists, the socialists, and the Jews. The importance of speaking out, the poem serves as a call to action, urging people to speak out against injustice and oppression, even when it doesn't directly affect you. So I wanted to read that one. Okay.
That's right. Silence is not an option. It's not. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Barbara and Branca.
Hello, everyone. What wonderful features. Thank you, everyone. Can I fit in a very short political poem, but then I'm going to balance it with a song from the Summer of Love. Okay? Okay. So, because, and I have read that, and that's fabulous, right? So you have to choose your battle. So I've been like in the environmental world, like my whole adult career. So, down over there is where Lee Zeldin lives. Now, he used to be our congressman. Now he's head of the EPA. So, hey, Lee Zeldin, it's the EPA you're folding. You grew up on the dynamic South Coast that climate change affects the most, but you had support from fishermen and vets, but your deregulations is as bad as it gets. You're the sycophant EPA czar. Now you're telling me just buy a cheap car. So what will you say to your two lovely girls as you set us back to a greedy, polluted world? So that's for me. Chew, you gotta chew, you know, you can't. Okay, so this is something really positive, and you please join in. Love is but a song we sing, fear's the way we die. You can make the mountains sing or make the angels cry. Though the bird is on the wing, you don't know why. Come on, people now, smile at your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now. Some may come and some may go. We will surely pass when the one who left us here returns for us at last. We are like fading sunlight on the grass. Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. If you hear the song I sing, you will understand. You hold the key to love and fear, all in your trembling hand. Just one key unlocks them both. They're there at your command. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now. Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now, right now, right now. Thank you, Zoom land people, everybody.
Wow, thank you so much, Barbara, for that. And you know, she said she wanted to keep it positive. That's why I didn't sing. There are 88 notes on the piano, none of them are mine. I sing in the key of if. Okay, so, all right, so we're gonna bring it back here to the Riverhead Public Library and ask Vinnie Cologne to come up.
Thank you, Chip, Maggie. Maggie's also going to feature, I run an open mic the first Tuesday in Rocky Point, and Tuesday, April 1st, Maggie's going to feature. So hopefully I'll see a couple of you people there. I'm just going to turn to a blank random page. This is a gazelle, and it's called The Cry of the Gazelle, with the epigraph, "When an elder dies, a library burns down." It's an old African proverb. To God's ears from our mouths, the forgotten sin. They're burning down libraries in the South again. Face detuned fiddle, Nero plays as Caesar smolders, igniting Egyptian temple and ships in vain again. Alexandria burns, a copy of every book ever written dies, burnt in the fiery pain again. Papyrus blazes, heats tile bathhouses for a fortnight, knowledge lost emits flame again, all burning, all consuming, clock face frozen in place, commemorates a refrain again. Blistering heat racing down the street, the cry of the gazelle, a dry crackle of sustain again. So much knowledge lost. Was it worth the cost? We hear you whimper your last on the fruited plain again. Old man, tell me quick before you vanish. If you know the secrets, please explain again. Is it as simple as sometimes you join and sometimes you should abstain again? For every crop to grow and for the farm to flourish, undoubtedly there must be some rain again. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinnie. And now we go to Zoom land. I think we have J.R. Turk on deck.
We do. We have JR followed by Jill Drum and Linda Dickman, please.
Super. Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Chip. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Bill. Oh, and Nina. Thank you. It's so wonderful to actually hear the poems. And for anybody who will be in East Meadow, I know many, many, many miles from where you are, 2 weeks from today, she will be featuring with Frankie Soto at East Meadow Library for me. I know I'm not at my best, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try this. I have a brand new poem to read. Soup mug, with love to Cheryl and Mike. Picture a large mug and saucer, sturdy stoneware, biscuit background with navy blue leaves and stems, yellow and red dot flowers inside and out and across the lid that doubles as a saucer. Mug is big enough to hold 16 ounces of soup with plenty of room to stir without drips, microwave without splatters, wide handle, lid with a finger lip for ease in holding, and confession, great for holding my spoon as I slurp the last dregs of soup. I love this mug, love soup all year through, an excellent pairing. Impatient with all things, I savor microwave heating. Stir, heat, stir, lid in place to keep the heat, double as a bib beneath my spoon to catch errant drips. I'm all about simple, Simple dinner of soup and salad, mug ready for anything. Lobster bisque, chicken corn chowder, minestrone, tomato basil, chicken with wide al dente noodles, New England clam, and my homemade hamburger soup. All are elegant and simply perfect in my soup mug. Hand washed and dried, it's pampered, put in the cabinet with safe space around it until it's soup time again. In the supermarket, I start my shopping with soup, canned, jarred, dairy shelf, freeze-dried, packaged, all are gourmet in this special mug. Of course it's special. Gifted from a couple of angels who live a block away, close to my heart, and I think of them, a sigh, a smile, and cartoon bubble hearts every time it's soup time. Thank you.
Thank you to Maggie, Chip, and Claire, and to JR, who I met out in Riverhead about a year ago and sends me all of the emails for these wonderful things. I was inspired by the 3 featured artists today, as I always am, and you inspire me to hopefully be a featured artist one day. Like the man with the Listerine in his mouth, this new poem took me out of bed when I was trying to sleep. So here it goes. It's called Hope. No, hope is not a strategy, but it is the only thing I hang on to. Like Kate Winslet as Rose, grasping the broken banister, gaping at the Titanic, sinking into the icy Atlantic. It is the one word I would ever think of tattooing on my arm, to observe and hold, to worship and pray, like an icon or holy water or beads of a rosary. No, hope is not a plan, but at times it is the singular factor that allows me to take the next breath, to think perhaps tomorrow the sun will come out, the sorrow will clear. Just have to hang on. Hang in there, baby, like Sassy the cat on the poster from the 70s, clinging to the bamboo pole that hung on my purple childhood walls. Yes, people warn, don't have expectations, avoid disappointment, but Wikipedia declares hope is an optimistic state of mind, like salve on a wound or splint on a bone, for my glass half empty default outlook. It offers different types: proximate, ultimate, robust, or resilient, realistic, chosen, transcendent. Hope energizes and motivates, like the ants with the rubber tree plants. I strive for high hopes, especially at my lowest points. It comes in various dimensions: affective, cognitive, behavioral, attachment, time, contextual. It's not just wishful thinking, but a dynamic system, including positivity, responsibility, agility, reality. My hope is not a dream deferred, and I will hold fast with all my might for as long as I can. Hope is my mantra, to be chanted repeatedly until I reach the end of the rainbow and my dreams that I dare to dream really do come true. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm not going to repeat all the thank yous, but know that I have appreciated the perspectives of everyone here. This is called My Life as Her Guardian Angel. On the easy days, I hold my hand over her mouth. She eats many words, having this thing about truth. I have to be quick sometimes. She already has too many holes in her tongue. I protect her in the space between the bumper and the distracted driver. A full-time job now. She is ever on the move. I keep her feet steady on the stairs while she transports the small, lame poodle. I hold her steadfast as she delivers your words, helping her get them out through her constricted throat. words that build up the hearer, heal the hurting. She worries about the love of her life, sent by you over and over and over again. She wants to see him lifted on the hard days, see him healed of all those wounds that fester like wisteria. There are the times when she hurts for her students, her colleagues, her friends, her family, her enemies, strangers here and far away. She jumps into impossible situations on behalf of your children. She raises them to you, the weight always too much to bear. She keeps me busy guarding her by night when she works out the battles of the day in her dreams. Shielding her from harm by day, I am stretched past my wingspan. But there are simply no ways to shield her opalescent soul, change her desire to see the best, guard her from words that pierce. For that, boss, she has to rely on you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Linda. Before you leave, I want you to tell us what's going on April 5th and April 6th. Festival.
Oh, yeah, I thought you were going to say Poetry Path, so I was ready for that. I'm going to be reading at the Rita Monte mic on April 5th, and I don't think I'm reading on the 6th, but Paula Kersey is holding an incredible poetry festival, of which I am happy to be a part.
Great, thank you so much. And J.R. Turk writes a poem every single day. So for her to write a poem today was not a surprise. And she donates a lot of her money to the world's largest animal shelter from her proceeds from Dog Speak. She's a wonderful person. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'd like to bring to you one of the founders of Poetry Street, Bubby Brown.
Good afternoon. I can remember the days when I used to be surprised at the quality of the features that come month after month. I'm not surprised anymore. I expected, and I'm yet to be disappointed. But you're going to be disappointed because I had this poem I was going to read today, and it fit. It was so cool. It was written in 1943, I think, by Langston Hughes, and it fit in so much with what's going on in the world today. But I lost it. So you have to suffer with one of the originals of Bubby. Guilty. Who's the last one to the table? Who's the last one to sit down? After grace is said and done, there's enough to go around. Share the bounty of my harvest with everyone from everywhere, 'cause hunger transcends time and space, and borders just don't care. My pantry seams are bursting. My grain silos overflow. My waste could feed thousands, and the sin is that we don't. We know we starve the hungry, depriving meat and grain from emaciated, bone-thin souls with distorted belly pain. He who sits in judgment when he slams the gavel down, guilty, every one of us, there was enough to go around.
Thank you so much, Bubby. And Bubby is also on our film, Poetry Street on the Road, the film, which is on our website, poetrystreetontheroad.com. And now please welcome Larry. And I think this is Larry's first time here, so give it up for him again. One more time, give it to Larry. Larry, where are you from?
Middle Island.
Middle Island, welcome.
Right down the road. Yes. It's my first time at all. I'll try my best. Okay, I see that everyone takes it out of their mind. It's very beautiful to see. I cheated with my friend Roger Theosaurus. Okay, I won't do that in the future. Okay, the title is Among the Trees. Sunlight filters through the branches, dappling the earth in shifting gold. A breeze moves, soft as a breath, stirring leaves that whisper secrets that only the patient will hear. The scent of pine and damp earth lingers, a quiet living perfume. Somewhere, water hums over smooth stones, a steady rhythm older than words. I sit among roots that twist and stretch, grounded, still, listening, until I am nothing but another part of the forest. Thank you, man.
Always good to see someone new. And now, Claire, who do we have on Zoom land?
We're going to go to Megan Deutsch, and then I have a poem I'd like to read, and we'll check in with Hiram.
Okay, thank you.
This is called Petals. Supple stems lift their cups toward unknown sky. Rain drapes lace on tender vein blooms. Sun follows, wind combs through lights. Every petal a fragment of the whole, like the pieces of us. Fragrance flutters, a chorus of scent. Wildflowers stretch to the horizon. We bloom not from one root, but from petals layered together, each part of our unfurling. Thanks.
Thank you. This poem needs a good editor, but I'm going to read it soon and I'd like to practice. Poetry is practice. A Good Friday in March. While waiting for Mother to die on a Friday in Lent, my brother remarked it felt like a Good Friday. The hours between noon and 3 when our Lord hung on the cross and Mother forbade the television, the radio. She wanted us to pray. Yet she'd neglected to teach us how. All those years when we were young, her sister was dying, her mother was dying, her brother then died. All while Kennedy King, Bobby Emmett, and the unnamed died. So much death in the 60s. Now here, the woman we were never to call she, lay dying alone and separated from us, one of the first few on the far eastern coast, dying amongst what has come to be nearly 300,000 with no immediate end in sight. How were we to treat her death as special and remember her among such a collective mourning? We did it by each being separated in our own rooms, torn apart by COVID. Much like the separation on Good Friday, each of us in our own space. The 5 of us not speaking, but not fighting. A moment of peace for my mother while my father continued to toll alone. It is a mournful absence of self, but a great reminder that no matter how far apart we are, how different our experiences, we never really grieve alone, as we find hope again later, together. It was indeed a Good Friday.
That was beautiful, Claire. Thank you so much. Ambassador of Peace from Cleveland, Ohio.
This is a picture that I drew. This is a picture of Jesus that I drew on February 8th, 2022. And a lady asked me, she says, well, where's the blood? Where's the blood? So I expect she was referring to the fact that I didn't draw the hand and feet, which I'm really not that good at. But the purpose of this picture, more so than just the blood and just as much, was the expression on Jesus' face, where he has taken pity on mankind and asked that God would not burn us. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. The title of this poem is By Thy Grace. How gracefully thou doth soothe my heart. By thy grace looketh past my weakness. How gracefully thou dost taketh me whole. By thy grace blesseth me with meekness. How gracefully thou doth calm my heart. By thy grace judgeth not my late start. And how gracefully thou doth light my dark. By thy grace and presence not part. I thank you all, and most of all, God, for allowing me to be blessed to be in such a wonderful family as Poetry Street on the Road. Happy Easter. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. In May, we're going to have a feature by the name of Uncle Dre, and he's here today to give us a preview. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from the back of the room, Uncle Dre.
Uncle Dre, my brother. Well, good afternoon, everyone. They call me Uncle Dre. I was doing a reading and Judy Turek, hey, Purple Poet, how you doing today? And East Meadow in Nassau County, and Chip was there, and Chip said, hey, you sent me an invitation to come here, so I thanked him. I said, okay, I'm gonna be here. And it's been a couple of whiles, but here I am. Today, wasn't kind of knowing which poem I was gonna do today. I said, well, I'll go off the flow. But as Chip was talking, he said, well, you know, it's Women's History Month still, and I apologize to Chip, Chris, and Judy, because they heard this a few times. It's called I Am Woman. I better move the mic a little bit because sometimes I can get a little loud with it. And it's called I Am Woman. I am woman. Why should we have to rebirth the words of this score? I am woman. Why do we always have to be a little more patient? Spend a little more time, act a little more different, accept a little more less when it comes to the dollar sign. I am woman. Do I need to even finish that line? Why are your cowards always shaking in fear, giving us all kinds of excuses just to keep us in the rear? I am woman. I guess more than you even bargained for. The time is now. Yes, I'm gonna finish the score. I am woman. Hear me roar. We are fed up with your nonsense. It's 2025 and we're not taking it anymore. But we are women. And you're gonna hear us roar. Both. Right.
All right, loud and clear. We heard that. Yes, awesome. So do we have anyone else on Zoom land, Claire?
Hiram has something to share with us or announce.
Thank you, folks. My ears are grinning as a result of this gathering. So thanks to all of those who are responsible for making it happen. I simply wanted to shout out to Mr. Brown, Bobby Brown, if he's still there in the room, and to encourage any of the rest of you also to please send your hunger-focused poems to Poetry X Hunger. And Maggie and Chip, who are in the room, can tell you all about it because they have poems published on the Poetry X Hunger website. So that's all I needed to say. Thank you, Claire, for letting me take the mic.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we lost Gladys. Okay, so we're going to come back to the room and I'm going to read a poem and then we're going to, Maggie's going to read one. The love of my life. I aspire to live each breath as though I may not breathe anymore. Today I see life different than I've ever seen before. I must use my time wisely because time is swift, life is precious, and each second is a gift. Although wisdom comes with experience, naivete is no excuse for not being conscious of self-neglect and abuse. I've stopped punishing myself and learned how to truly forgive, and I've established guidelines in which I vow to live. I've learned how to love myself and realize my true worth. I'm unmeasurably blessed to have recovered from the hurt of past experiences that I am unmistakably, regrettably responsible for. Consequences of bad decisions, hard beds I made recur. I vow not to live in the shadows of my past, but in the present and in the hope of a fulfilling future that will everlast. I vow not to be afraid to respond to and give love with the unconditional measure that God has shown me from above. I cherish this opportunity and respectfully accept my inevitable plight. I've been given another chance to make and do things right. I thank God for his goodness, his mercy, his grace, and most of all, his love, which with all my heart I embrace. All I had to do was open my eyes, my ears, my heart, be quiet and still, and wait for God to speak and tell me his perfect will, which is to live my life with love in my heart, right down to the core, loving myself and others until I have breath no more. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Maggie Bloomfield.
Okay, what a wonderful open mic. Oh my God. Okay, this poem is called Misogyny. So many misses. Mistake, misalliance, miscellaneous, misconduct, missile, misdemeanor, missionary, misshapen, miserable, misspell, misspoken, misspent, mispronounced, missile, religion, missed opportunities, missed connections, missed raises, missed promotions, missed out. Sorry, miss. 216 words that define our state in the world. 216 words that keep us in our place. Wow. Okay, is that it? That's it. All right, we're going to bring back the features for one more poem. Let us start with the wonderful Sarah Bullock.
Back again, the last poem. I have to say that I'm so happy to hear so many spiritual words and thoughts here. Because a lot of times when you go places, once you start talking about Christ and Jesus, oh, well, then I'm going to religion. Let me tell you something. I know for sure that God is real. And we need him in this day and age to be able to walk this journey called life. My last poem I wrote in 2022. And it's something that a word that I say all the time when I'm in awe of something or something surprises me or walking down the street or driving and the sun is out and beautiful. I say, wow. I say it so many times during the day. So I decided, I wrote that down. I think it's one of the longest poems that this took the longest time I've ever to write a poem, is this one, because there's so many things that can go under wow. Definition, wow. When I think of all the majesty of this world and how the sun rises and the sun sets, and how the day begins and the night ends, and of all of the things that happen in between, I say, wow. I realize that these things don't just happen, it's divine intervention. I looked the word wow up in a dictionary. There was none, so here's mine. The miraculous birth of Isaac, the turning of the water into wine, the blind man receiving his sight, lame man now walking, Jochebed nursing her own child, Moses, and being paid to do it. But the biggest wow of all is Jesus Christ being born, crucified, raised from the dead, and redeeming us from our sins. Need I say more? Oh, well, what do you think of all of this? Or is it just wow?
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was just beautiful. Bill, come on back. Bill, Thatcher.
A poet's lament. A poet's life is not a happy one. He wakens pen in hand ere rising sun and writes with passion, eloquence, and grace, with imagery and rhythm and a trace of pathos, till the finished work in whole can stir the spirit and renew the soul. But publishers would be the first to say that no one buys a book of poems today. But if he wrote a Harlequin romance or a fantasy or how-to book, his chance of ever getting published would increase. But poetry, not till pigs fly, at least. And so tonight, dear friend, send up a prayer for struggling, starving poets everywhere, that readers once again begin to see the riches that derive from poetry.
Thank you so much, Bill. And now Nina Yavel.
What a day, what an incredible day. So this is the last poem in the book, and it's in the section about love. It's called The Bicycle Path. Along the bicycle path, time's light flickers. Trees peel their pastels to fuller shades, finally to brown. Nearby, the sea flutters with imaginary fish, slips beneath quickening mallards, stirs the meringue shore. I pedal in and out of seasons, tracing footfalls below a teal sky that speaks of summer's morning or winter's afternoon. Here the clouds hold the sun a marble in their billowy cheeks, and thickets hold their berries from late August through to June. In time, gulls that toss black shells to the stone-cluttered beach will drift like decoys on the swelling sea. The marsh grasses that whistled like children and pulled at the wind with silvery teeth will shift from silver to a drier gold, and we will walk the bicycle path, growing young, growing old.
Oh my goodness, what an afternoon. Let us put our hands together one more time for all these wonderful poets and the great teachers we had today. I hope you all come back last Saturday next
Hey, right.
month. Our features, actually, Robin James is one of them, and then two actually from the east end of Long Island. Virginia Walker from Shelter Island, right? Are you next month? I think you're next month. And Tom House, who is a writer from East Hampton. So
I think I'm in May.
oh, you're in May. Oh,
Yes.
God. Oh, no.
Sorry.
It's, you know who it is? It's Gladys.
Oh, good. Wonderful.
Gladys Henderson, Virginia's in May. We will all look forward to hearing Gladys and Robin and Tom. And don't forget to write a sentence and put it in the poetry jar before you leave. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, library. Thank you all.